Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a Victoria woman is charged with sexual assault of a child.
Plus, Victoria is not the only Texas county setting early voting records.
And it's costing more to buy a home in Victoria. We have the numbers.
We have the numbers too, the hot numbers as we continue to stay in the 90-degree range. Is there any rain in sight? We'll be talking about that coming up in a moment.
And the Tidehaven Tigers will play a tough team on the road in Rice Consolidated. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Shawna Curry. A political forum with the District 30 state representative candidates is underway right now.
25 News Now weekend anchor Amaya Norman is at the Walker Auditorium at UHV North Hall with more. Amaya?
Yes, right now we are at the UHV Walker Auditorium where they are holding the debate. Democratic Stephanie Basham and Republican AJ are holding the debate right here where they are holding approximately 50 or 40 people. Basham says she wants to leave behind a legacy of progress District 30 can celebrate. She also wants to fight for a fair wages. Basham is a breast cancer survivor and wants to improve healthcare access, inclusivity, and making sure everyone has a voice. It's also important to Basham. Republican A.J. Louderback is a former sheriff of Jackson County. His focus on border issues and public safety. District 30 encompass Duet, Goliad, Jackson, Lavaca, Matagorda, and Victoria counties. It includes the city of Victoria, Cuero, Edna, and Bay City. Representative Jenny W. Morrison has served District 30 since 1999. I am reporting live. Amaya Norman, back to you.
All right, Amaya, thank you. And Texas early voting got off to a hot start on Monday with more than 881,000 people casting their ballots in person. Monday's turnout breaks records from the first day of in-person early voting in the last presidential election. This is the first presidential election with new Texas voting laws in effect. The laws shorten the number of days that early voting is available. They also put in place new rules around the hours that early voting locations could be open. Texas is preparing for Election Day with paper ballots and strengthened security. The Texas Tribune reports only 6 Texas counties will not have all in-person voters cast paper ballots at the polls. By 2026, all voting machines in Texas must produce a paper trail. Paper-backed systems have made a comeback with growing cybersecurity concerns, aging voting machines, and changes following the 2020 election. Now, in the first days of early voting, 10% of registered voters in Victoria County cast their ballots. That's a lot. Early voting for the November 5th general election continues at the Dr. Patty Dodson Public Health Center, 2805 North Navarro Street from today to Friday, October 25th. Voting times are from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sunday 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. A Victoria woman is charged with sexual assault of a child. Victoria County deputies arrested 19-year-old Matea Vasquez on a charge from Lavaca County. She's in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $100,000 bond. Just got late word she is no longer in the Victoria County Jail.
Refugio County is now under a burn ban. The Refugio County Commissioners Court voted unanimously in favor of a 45-day countywide burn ban effective immediately. However, the Refugio High School bonfire scheduled for tonight will be allowed to continue. That burn ban will last until December 5th unless canceled by the Commissioners Court before then, which probably not likely to happen because we don't have any rain in the forecast. 5
counties, I think, now in our area under burn bans. Is that right?
I believe so. Yeah.
No surprise, Mac.
Yeah.
No surprise at all. I think it's a wise thing. You know, we haven't had any rain in almost 30 days. And these temperatures are way above normal. And of course, you know, some grasses or plants are beginning to go dormant. That means they're dry and they're just brown. So let's all be cautious. We'll be talking more about that. But For me, I start looking to the northwest to see those big Pacific storms that roll in and give us some rain. We'll see if we can find some coming up in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Mac, thank you. Victoria Metro home prices are rising. Texas Realtors reports the median home price in Victoria is $267,000. That's up 2.7% from last year. Active listings are up 4.7% and closed sales are up 6.7%. That's one of the biggest rises in that area of any Texas metro area. Houses in Texas stayed on the market an average of 7 days longer in the third quarter of this year than during the same quarter last year.
The Victoria Central Appraisal District Board of Directors is accepting applications for its appraisal review board. The board was created to provide an independent judicial review of taxpayer protests when taxpayers protest the valuation set by the Victoria Central Appraisal District on their property. Board members sit in panels to hear the testimony and review evidence in order to determine the outcome of those property owner protests. Only 2 people have applied so far, and the deadline was extended twice due to a lack of response. If you would like to learn more about applying, call 361-576-3621.
Senator Ted Cruz is raising his campaign spending in the last 2 weeks before the November 5th election. Cruz is trying to narrow the fundraising gap with Congressman Colin Allred, the Democrat challenger who had been outspending Cruz nearly 3-to-1. Federal campaign finance data shows between July and October, Cruz's campaign spent over $16 million, more than 3 times what he spent the previous 3 months. That brings his total for the campaign to $63 million.
Former President Donald Trump is expected to record an interview with Joe Rogan. The podcast will be Trump's first appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience after an argument between the two. ABC News reports the interview will take place at Rogan's studio in Austin on Friday, where the UFC commentator and comedian hosts one of the most popular podcasts in the world. Rogan gets huge listener numbers each week. Well, a 5-time convicted felon is running for a seat on the Robstown ISD school board. Texas law does not prevent felons from holding elected office if they have completed their sentences. The situation has sparked debate among voters as the school board election approaches. So our viewer poll today, we want to know, in your opinion, should all candidates seeking a public office have to pass a criminal background check? 99% of you feel that yes, they should pass a criminal background check as a stipulation to run for office. But we want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to participate, and we'll have the latest on 25 News Now at 10.
One of the 4 victims in Sunday night's helicopter crash in Houston was identified. Cesar Lerma of Pearland was one of 3 passengers on board the helicopter on a night tour over the city Sunday night. The chopper slammed into a radio tower. No one survived. The crash killed Lerma, 2 family members, and the pilot. Their identities have not been released. The NTSB is on the ground investigating the crash.
The federal government has fined American Airlines $50 million. An investigation found violations of rules designed to protect airline passengers who use wheelchairs. The investigation showed Fort Worth-based American had serious violations of disabled passenger rules between 2019 and 2023. American Airlines says it has already spent $175 million this year on services, infrastructure, training, and new technology.
Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. The Port Lavaca Police Department is recognized by the Texas Municipal League, and hard work pays off for youth at the Calhoun County Fair Auction. You can read these stories and more at portlavacawave.com.
Tesla's third quarter net income rose 17% compared with a year ago as its electric vehicle sales rose. The Austin company said it made $2.17 billion from July through September, despite price cuts and low interest financing that helped to boost sales of the company's aging vehicle lineup. It was the company's first year-over-year quarterly profit increase of 2024. Tesla made 72 cents per share, beating analyst expectations. Well, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell, and you can go back and see all of the videos that we air right here on 25 News Now, but on YouTube. So stay with us on 25 News Now at 6. The CDC is investigating a deadly E. coli outbreak caused by fast food hamburgers in some Midwest states.
Also ahead, a North Texas high school finds a new way to musically celebrate homecoming.
Welcome back. One person is dead, at least 48 others sick after an E. coli outbreak tied to fast food chain McDonald's. The CDC is investigating this multi-state outbreak.
Now, the outbreak is linked with McDonald's Quarter Pounders. Texas is not among the states listed in the outbreak.
A health alert coming for the Golden Arches.
Sorry, we don't have the Quarter Pounders at the moment.
The CDC is conducting what they're calling a fast-moving investigation into an E. coli outbreak they say is linked to the popular McDonald's Quarter Pounder and dozens of illnesses reported in at least 10 states, including one death of an older person. Nearly a dozen people have been hospitalized, including a child who developed a serious complication that can develop from an E. coli infection. A map on the CDC website shows most of the illnesses are in Colorado and Nebraska.
We reach out to members of the public that have these positive test results and ask them a series of food survey type questions to try and understand foods that they ate leading up to the onset of their illness.
Information reviewed by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration shows that slivered onions are a likely source of contamination.
I want to talk about onions.
I wanted to take
In a video released on YouTube, McDonald's USA President Joe Erlinger says McDonald's has stopped using the onions as well as quarter-pound beef patties in several states while the investigation continues. In an interview with the Today Show, Erlinger assured customers that other items on the menu are safe to eat.
What we've done at McDonald's is taken this swift and decisive action to address the issue that we have so that the public can be confident in McDonald's.
In New York, Lee Waldman reporting.
Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Cuero Record. The outgoing Chisholm Trail Museum director is praised for community service, and the city of Cuero approves weatherization assistance. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com.
Tupperware just finalized a deal to sell itself to a group of leaders just weeks after filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The iconic company, famous for its food storage containers and home parties, will receive $23.5 million in cash and $63 million in debt relief. In return, the lenders will take over all of Tupperware's intellectual property and operating assets, both in the U.S. and internationally. The deal is set to close by the end of the month, pending court approval. Well, high school homecomings have many traditions, including the high school band performing at the big game.
But a high school in North Texas had a different kind of band perform for its homecoming. A mariachi band played at Fort Worth Northside High School. We're at
a Northside High School homecoming football game. It's all about the school spirit.
All of the moms, the big Texas moms, the bigger the better.
I'm glad I'm a part of it because I get to make my mom and support my school.
We get to make memories that we might never experience again.
When I think of homecoming, I think of football. More of the American culture. At Northside, we bring a little bit of a difference.
1, 2, 3, ready, and... Mariachi isn't often included in the football season.
Once they start playing and they start playing those rancheras that everybody knows, this is awesome to see that you're at a football game and you're hearing mariachi music playing at the same time.
It's a culture here in the north side. The Hispanic culture is very, very large in our population, so we make it a point to be able to have the students come out and have a good time.
It's really fun to represent my community and my culture. To be able to come out here and do what we love, I feel a sense of pride seeing everyone support us. Mariachi has always been a safe space for me. It's always felt like home here.
As the first generation in my family, I'm continuing that tradition.
So as long as we support the community, community supports us, I don't think we'll ever die.
Very interesting. I'm glad they didn't have a marching though. It's hard to do the violin while you're marching. And I've never seen a marching mariachi, so very interesting. Anyway, folks, a beautiful day out there. Lovely sunset. Yeah, last night we had some beautiful sunset because of the cloud deck. Tonight, possibly the same. 85 degrees, though. These temperatures do not reflect late October. We got up to 90 again today. We're supposed to be around 82. Our record is 96. So, I mean, we're hovering in high stratospheric places. Now, the question is there any kind of rain on the horizon? We'll be taking a look at that coming up after this. Well, good evening, everybody. Yes, another sunny day. If you're into that kind of stuff, myself, I like that, but every now and then we'd like to see a little rain coming, and it's just not happening for us in the short term. At this time of the year, we're actually between systems. The tropics are getting a little quieter. The Northwest is getting a little bit active, but in the middle, we're sort of stuck between two gears here, and we're not going to see any kind of rain really in the next 7 days. Possibly, however, in the next 14 days, then things start getting interesting. Because of the long period of dry weather and the unusually warm weather, the Forest Service put out an advisory. Of course, this includes all of us. We're at level 3 of preparedness for a possible wildfire situation. So we're just basically reminding everybody across the state that you just got to be cautious with anything that looks like flame. A lot of the native grasses are going dormant, so that's dry. Haven't had any rain, so that's dry. Don't see any rain coming in the next 7 days, so we're now at the 30 days with no substantial rainfall around the area. Now our winds are going to be out of the south, so you'll feel the humidity as the Gulf air rolls back in. We had about 3 or 4 hours of fog this morning. We may probably see that again tomorrow morning, but the atmosphere is kind of capped. That's why the high ridge of high pressure is on top of us. That's keeping everything low, and that's why we're getting the fog. But I look at the big picture. You have to. Some people say, why are you talking about the Pacific? Well, because in the Pacific, these big, powerful storms start rolling up. They slam into the western states, and then they roll over the Rockies and affect us. So I have to look at the big picture for the long-term forecast, and it tells me that about 14 days out, November the 3rd and 4th, we may have a significant front with rain associated with it, and then actually cooling us down to about 70 degrees in high temperatures. That's 14 days out, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. And it's an easy forecast. In November, yeah. All right, so here we go. In late October, 89, forecast high for tomorrow. We have a very large hurricane out in the Pacific. This is Christy. You can see it right here, 155-mile-an-hour winds. The good news, though, it's going out to the middle of the ocean, not going to bother anybody. Now, this is a very interesting one that you've got to hold on to. Right here in the Caribbean, computer models are spitting out another tropical storm that would go north into Florida. Okay, I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm just saying the computers are indicating that it will be another Florida storm, and they're going to have to be watching this very carefully over the next 14 days because this is not till about the early November, but it could be a problem for them on the East Coast again. Hard to believe. So for us, a pretty simple forecast. Looks like a lovely day in Port Lavaca tomorrow, getting up to about 84. Sunny skies as well for Cuero and getting up to about 89. And your 7-day forecast, other than the morning fog, it's just straight on sunshine with temperatures hovering near 90 degrees. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. And here's Shawna.
All right, thanks a lot, Mac. Well, now we send it over to Max Williams, who has a look at what's coming up in sports.
Yeah, Shawna, last night Victoria East, they got a massive win over the Marshall Buffaloes on the road. I'll talk with 2 of their star players coming up in sports. All right, everyone, we are only 2 days away from the beginning of week 9 of high school football, and we have 2 top 10 battles again this week in Goliad versus Edna and El Campo versus Bay City, which we talked about last night. But another matchup you got to keep an eye on here this week is the Tidehaven Tigers. They travel to play Rice Consolidated this week, and Tidehaven, they've been on a 3-game winning streak here after losing badly back to top team in Ganado there in week 4. And quarterback Cale Russell still putting up great numbers there for the Tigers, and he's finding top target J.C. Duran. He's been big big in the running game and also in the passing game. Now, for Rice Consolidated, they're 6-2 right now in this season, but they have lost to the top teams there in East Menard, who is undefeated right now. Then they lost to Industrial last week, and their quarterback, Corday Johnson, is a player to keep an eye on, though. He is literally, when I say dual threat, he can run the ball, he can pass the ball, and he has a top wide receiver as well in Joan Woods. So this game's going to be back and forth. I think this one will be another one to watch here in Week 9. But over there to Hallettsville, again, they're trying to, as well in the football ranks, finish strong and try to make the playoffs because they are 2-5 right now and they need to win out to make the playoffs. So head coach Levi Montgomery still believes this team can make one last run into the playoffs.
Getting to the very, very important games. At the end of the day, you want to get in the playoffs, start the third season. We're in the second season right now, which is district. So playing Hempstead this week at home again, have a chance to punch our ticket to the playoffs, and then after that, finish with Columbus and Yoakum, and then hopefully get into the playoffs on a good note.
And their head coach Montgomery there is hoping to keep that positive energy and trying to see if they can win a big one against the Hempstead Bobcats this week. Now over to the volleyball court. Victoria East Titans won 3 sets on the road versus the Marshall Buffaloes. And 2 of the star players in last night's game were Jade McIntosh. She had 18 assists. And then Lillian Fisher. She had 11 kills in the game. So I had a chance to talk to McIntosh and Fisher about how they did and also how their teammates have helped them on the court this season.
It's been really fun. They're very encouraging. They're great team players on and off the court. They're always encouraging, giving advice for volleyball and for school or anything that you need. It's good working with them on the court, especially whenever, like I said, we're working as a team. It just all clicks.
The couple who work on varsity, they're such friendly people, so they're easy to get along with, and so our whole connection as a team is really just there. Like, we all get along with each other.
Victoria's volleyball team, they're hoping to finish the season strong, and they're trying to beat 2 tough teams there in Lamar Consolidated and Fort Bend Kempner, which they'll play on the road there next Tuesday. Now, again, one sad news that happened yesterday. Again, Fernando Valenzuela, again, passed away at the age of 63. And throughout his 17th career in the MLB, Valenzuela was a 6-time All-Star. And the Mexican-born pitcher rose to stardom with the Los Angeles Dodgers, again, from 1980 to 1990. And that's where he sparked the cultural phenomenon known as Fernando Mania. And Valenzuela also played for the California Angels, St. Louis Cardinals, Philadelphia Phillies, Baltimore Orioles, and San Diego Padres. Following his playing career, Valenzuela began calling games for the Dodgers, Spanish language radio broadcast there in 2023, and the Dodgers retired Valenzuela's iconic jersey number 34, making him the first player in franchise history to receive the honor without being inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And Valenzuela, again, passed away at the age of 63. And Don, I know we kind of talked about this here in the past. You've kind of had interactions with them there in the past, and man, just another one of those star baseball players that passed away there at 63 years old.
I tell you, Fernando Valenzuela Mania was amazing back in '81. He was not even known, and all of a sudden he's throwing shutouts and all of this stuff. It was really just amazing for the Dodgers, and amazing anybody beat him, not even my Astros. And we're back in a moment. The bones of a mastodon found 2 years ago, almost ready to go on display to the public. Finally tonight, the mastodon bones discovered in Michigan 2 years ago finally finished drying. They are now reaching the next stage in their restoration and recreation process at the Grand Rapids Public Museum. Now 2 scanning technicians are getting 3D images of each and every bone and fragment, looking for insight into its life and death 13,000 years ago. The 4K textures created by the scans will be used to 3D print replicas of each bone, which will be assembled into a complete articulated skeleton. Wow.
They can do that. They can do that nowadays. It used to be a movie. Now they're actually doing it. Folks are looking for a very sunny, warm couple of days. In fact, all through the weekend. Don't see any rain until after Halloween.
Need a
Thank you,
3D
Mike.
print some
Thanks for
shade.
joining us.
Have a good night.